There's a time bomb in your life. It's right there in your home. It's ticking. I'm Len Hinderrocker with Scott Etzel Financial Resources. We're going to talk about that time bomb. There's been some incredible changes recently that affect your financial security, your plan, your future, your sense of what we're doing, your purpose, your aspirations. All of that is wrapped up in this particular dialogue with the one and only Scott Etzel. Scott, thank you so much for coming in. And why don't you clue us in on this pivotal move, the implications of the Secure Act of 2019 and why we all need to pay a lot of attention right now.
Sure. Let's start out with what the Secure Act stands for. Secure, setting up of every community retirement enhancement.
Okay.
And what Congress was doing here was they've gone in and they've changed a number of different rules and on how we are going to basically take distributions from IRAs. And they changed three top topics. Is number one, they've eliminated the need to stop making contributions to your IRA if you're still working at age 70 and a half.
Okay, so number one, say that one more time. They stopped the need to take.
Right now, if you're investing in a pre-tax IRA or pre-tax 401k,
yes,
before the Secure Act, you had to stop at 70 and a half and start taking RMDs.
See, which is monetary distribution. You got to start taking the money out.
I'm sorry, required minimum distributions, yes. So what that means is that before the Secure Act, you had to stop and then start taking required minimum distributions, and then you would just take distributions from that the rest of the retirement. They eliminated that, so now if you're still working at 70 and a half, you can continue to contribute to the IRA or the 401k or any other retirement.
So that's good.
The second thing they've done is they increased the age from 70 and a half to start taking required minimum distributions to 72. So that's a good thing for us. We get a couple more years of tax deferred growth before these 72.
Gets a little bit larger.
And it's easier to remember. 70 and a half was a little hard for people to figure out. 72 is simple. But the third thing that they've done here is they've eliminated the Stretch IRA.
Now, what is a Stretch IRA?
Okay, that's a great question. Now, Stretch IRA, what that is when you die and leave your IRA or 401k to a beneficiary.
Yeah.
Before the Secure Act, that beneficiary could stretch that IRA's income over their lifetime. So you might
could be 20 years.
Yeah, it could be a long time. It could be 40 years.
Sure.
And you then could pass that on to another beneficiary when you die, and they could stretch it over their life.
And that seems like a good thing.
It was good for us. Wasn't good.
Not
for
so
the
good for. All right. So tell me what the new options are then.
Well, the government needs our money. They're always looking at our 401ks, and there's trillions of dollars in 401ks and company plans for Roth IRAs, that sort of thing. The government needs that money to pay for the close to $30 trillion in debt.
We all know that there's
debt.
So
the Secure Act says, well, we're no longer going to allow you to stretch that IRA. Your beneficiaries are going to have to eliminate or take all of the distribution of that IRA out within a 10-year period.
Okay, 10 years.
There are some exceptions to that. There's the eligible designated beneficiary, and that'd be like the spouse. She can still stretch it over her lifetime, and there's a couple other categories there too in the eligible part.
So they made some exceptions.
Right. But for the majority of people, the designated beneficiaries, the non-eligible designated beneficiaries, they will have to eliminate or withdraw all of that.
Take the money
over a course of a 10-year period.
Okay.
So
when do the taxes? When are they due now? And then how is that changing again now?
Okay. So because it's a deferred tax account,
yes,
when you're taking those distributions, you're being taxed on those distributions, and this is creating a number of different problems for spouses and beneficiaries.
Yeah.
For example, if you're a couple and you're pulling RMDs from a $1 to $2 or $3 million IRA or 401k,
sure,
and that puts you in a higher tax bracket in retirement.
Yeah.
That if one of those died, the second spouse is now going to be in an even higher tax bracket because you're no longer filing.
Kind of takes the fun out of receiving all the money.
Exactly. But exactly. So we have to figure out certain areas of where that's really where the ticking time bomb comes into play, because what happens is also when you leave these accounts to beneficiaries, that's pushing them into even higher tax brackets, and boom, it really starts to explode. So what we're trying to do here at Etzel Financial Resources is we're trying to put strategies in play that are going to help eliminate those problems further down the line.
And you've done a good job outlining the problems for us, and I appreciate that very much. So to summarize, the Secure Act of 2019 gives you some wonderful benefits, but in return, they want to get their taxes much earlier.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. In the old days, before the Secure Act, we were all going with this idea that we could invest our money in tax deferred accounts.
Sure.
And in retirement, yeah, it might push us into higher tax brackets, but we'll be enjoying the money and more money in retirement. Right. And then when we die, we can pass it on and leave it to our beneficiaries. They can leave it to their beneficiaries. And really, we could set up our families that way.
Sure.
Today, however, things have changed. Because of the Secure Act,
sure.
We can no longer look to do that. And if we want to leave a legacy to our family, we have to be thinking about new ways of doing it.
Yeah.
And changing the ways that we've been doing it, which is the harder part, really, because now we're creating, do we want to pay the taxes today or do we want to pay the taxes later? And if we've got big accounts, we still have to pay those taxes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so though we have to make decisions as retirees, as savers, how do we pay those taxes today? And
that's tough.
It should be.
That's tough. And there are choices and options and so on. We're going to talk about those in some additional dialogues that are connected with this introduction. Tell us, before we go on to the other dialogues and get deeper into this, a little bit about Scott Etzel. You work in the Central Iowa area. And what is you've done this for 15 years or so?
I have been in the industry almost 15 years. My office is out of Waukee, Iowa, and we've been helping clients in that area. Actually, we're in a number of different states, too, helping clients. So not just
in this internet era, you can provide counsel and planning advice from anybody, anywhere.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, you've got quite a career going, and I think you've got a great opportunity, because explaining Secure Act of 2019 is a game changer. No doubt about that, and you seem to know more about it than anybody I've ever heard from. So thank you for sharing the insight, and we'll look forward to sticking with you on these next dialogues.
Yeah, please do.
Kind of dive into it a little bit.
Really need to get to the detail.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Scott. I'm Lynn Hinderwalker. We'll see Scott Etzel, Financial Resources, at your next dialogue. Thanks again. Bye-bye.